Yesterday we spoke about genetic transformations in plant cells. Now I said genetic transformations in plant cells in vitro, it is generally carried out by using vectors. Now in nature, genetic transformation is happening in plant cells via agrobacterium transformations. So what happens in agrobacterium transformation? It has a plasmid which is called a tumor inducing plasmid or a root inducing plasmid. Now these plasmids have certain gene which can get integrated into the plant chromosome, thereby causing transformation in plant cells. Now this can be exploited in vitro conditions by removing some of the genes which are not necessary for the transfer and putting up your polylinker sites or your multiple cloning site, which you know as MCS, with unique restriction sites so that you can insert your desired gene along with your marker system into the tDNA. Generally the selective agent, and because these are all binary vectors, we were also talking about there are conjugate plasmid and there are non-transmissible plasmids. So now for non-transmissible plasmids which are non-conjugate, for them the facilitation is done using conjugate plasmids. So in that case we use binary vectors. Now sometimes because these TI and RI plasmids are quite large, big in size, 200 kbp. RI is further larger, it is 250 kbp. So now being very big plasmids and low copy numbers for multiplication in agrobacterium, the success of transformation might be less. So generally what is done is to remove the bulkiness, the virulence region, this particular TI plasmid which is inherently present is disarmed, which means the oncogenes which are present, which in nature get transmitted as a part of infection into the plant chromosome. Now oncogenes are what? Oncogenes are your auxin and cytokinin synthesizing, which lead to this rapid multiplication and morphogenetic events, change in the biochemical makeup, especially with respect to the growth hormones. Now these are removed and this is called as disarmed plasmid, and your virulence gene is intact. This virulence gene region in the disarmed plasmid is kept now separately from another artificial plasmid which you prepare, which is much smaller in size, which is called as a binary vector like P. cambia, which we hear in plant transformations. These are called as binary vectors because they have an origin of replication for E. coli as well as for agrobacterium, so that they can multiply and get maintained in E. coli and also in agrobacterium, and they will have your tDNA. Now it is a disarmed plasmid, the inherent TI plasmid, but this vector will have the tDNA with your polylinker site MCS, with your marker system, with your promoter and your 3' UTR poly A signal. So thereby when these two are there, they work in trans, and this virulence gene which is present in the disarmed plasmid will help in packaging this tDNA and processing this tDNA, helping for its integration into the plant chromosome and thereby the expression of the desired gene which you have inserted in this area. So what happens in nature? Crown gall disease is caused by the infection of agrobacterium tumefaciens and leads to a neoplastic growth. It utilizes opines produced by the host cells. Apart from your auxins and your cytokinin genes, there are opine genes also present in this tDNA, which once gets integrated, the plant starts producing these certain compounds which are rich in carbon and nitrogen. And this TI plasmid which is there in the agrobacterium, not everything is getting integrated. So in the rest of the plasmid, there are opine catabolism genes. Now once the plant produces these opines, they induce the opine catabolism gene present in the agrobacterium TI plasmid, such that the agrobacterium can use it. So in nature, agrobacterium is a parasite for the plant. Transformation is associated with and accomplished by transfer of stable replicating portion of TI plasmid DNA to the plant cell. So the replicating portion of the TI plasmid is your tDNA. We will see how it happens. Precise mechanism is unknown, but Molecular analysis has shown that 25 nucleotides which are called as direct repeats. Direct repeats means some of the base pairs which are after a gap continuously found to be present in more than one pairs. So more than one time they are continuously repeated. Repeated sequencing flanking the boundaries of the integration sites, left and the right border. It reads from the right to the left. The genes that are to be introduced in the plant cells must be inserted between the left and therefore the right border. So what happens in the structure of the TI plasmid? There are 4 regions. One is your tDNA region. This is the main transfer DNA responsible for the tumor induction. It has all those genes. The second region in this TI plasmid is responsible for replication. The third region, it is responsible for conjugation. So pilus formation such that the transfer can take place. The fourth region responsible for virulence, Vir genes are there. So it is important for processing and the transfer of tDNA. Now structure of tDNA, it is broken down into 3 parts. The transfer of tDNA into plant chromosome brings about physiological and morphological changes in the tissue due to expression of genes located in the tDNA. ONC region, which is oncogenic region, TMS1, now these are different locus or positions of the genes. TMS1 and TMS2, it represents Shuti locus, which means they represent or they express to produce cytokinins. So that's why they are called as Shuti locus. What kind of cytokinin? Generally it is IPA. IPA is your isopentyl adenosines. Then the TMR region, which is called as the Ruti locus, is responsible for your auxin synthesis. Generally what kind of auxin? IAA, indole acetic acid. Then OS region is your opine synthesis region, responsible for synthesis of amino acids and sugar derivatives. Opines are nothing but amino acids and sugar derivatives, collectively called as opines. These are low molecular weight nitrogen containing compounds, organic compounds. There are many different types of opines. Some of them are octopine, menopine, nopalene, and sometimes agrobacterium themselves, they are classed depending on the type of opine they are producing. Some are called as monopine type of agrobacterium, some are octopine. So in terms of the class of or the types of opines produced, agrobacteriums are also classified. Now 25 base pair repeat sequence, which is called as the left border and the right border, is essential for the tDNA transfer. Now how does it take place? These are some of the links which you can go through, help you to understand. So this is just a pictorial representation of the entire TI plasmid. Now you will have oncogenic genes, you will have cytokinin producing genes, you will have opine synthesizing genes. Then this entire is called as oncogenic region. Then you will have T region. T region will be including your left border and the right border and all these genes. Then conjugative transfer, I told you, so this is the region which is responsible for conjugative transfer. Then opine catabolism genes are also present. Origin of replication is present. Virulence region is present. So tDNA does not contain the outside the other genes, neither the catabolism genes, neither the origin of replication, the virulence gene. That is why when we say disarmed plasmid, which means the tDNA region has been taken out, replaced. Now virulence region, it is generally 35 kbp long. It is organized in 6 operons: virulence A, B, C, D, E and G. And each of these regions play a different role during this transfer process. It is not only transfer which is happening, from the time it induces, there is the signals like your defense or some molecules which like polyphenolic compounds which get released by the plants, injured plant cells, they act as cues. They induce some of these virulence regions in the agrobacterium, and these different proteins will be responsible for first induction of subsequent other regions of this virulence gene. which will, some of the proteins will be utilized in packaging, some of the proteins will be utilized in creating a nick, some of the proteins are utilized in protecting the tDNA as it enters the plant cells, some of the proteins are responsible for conjugation. So virulence A is a product specific inner membrane protein that recognizes and is responsive to the plant phenolic compounds. So this is what is responsible to recognize plant phenolic compounds. So it acts as a receptor. Virulence G acts as a transcription activator of other loci of the virulence region. The product of which C and D are involved in generation and processing of tDNA, which means creating a nick and then replicating and then packaging it, which means the 5' end is capped. Virulence B and E are involved in forming structural components which facilitate movement of tDNA. Virulence H allows bacteria to survive in the presence of bactericidal compounds from plant during the infection. So how does it happen? The early event is the nicking of the Ti plasmid between the third and the fourth bases of the bottom strand of the 25 base pair repeat. The virulence D operon encodes an endonuclease that produces nick in the border sequence. Then the initiation of DNA synthesis begins in the 5' to 3' end. Now it is accompanied by synthesis and secretion of certain other molecules like glucose, cellulose or surface proteins which have pathogenic characteristics. The T strand now which is made, replicated, now it is a single strand. Now it has to enter the plant chromosome and then to the nuclear membrane, through the nuclear membrane into the plant chromosome. Now the T strand, in order to transverse through the bacterial membrane, plant cell wall, then plant cell membrane and then the nuclear membrane, during this entire process it must avoid degradation with nucleases. The tDNA exists as DNA protein complex therefore. I talked about capping, which protects it and mediates its travel. The tDNA is converted to the double strand DNA prior to integration. So this double strand DNA is happening prior to integration in the plant chromosome. Placing the foreign genes into tDNA region of the Ti plasmid is possible to clone make copies. Clone means making copies. The introduced genes with the multiplication of the residing plasmid within the bacterial, with the bacterial growth. So this is what we were talking about. So this is how it happens, the various events which we were talking about, the various different kinds of, so you can read that and you can correlate with the figure. So they have demonstrated the various virulence proteins which are responsible. One is acting as a receptor, then it further induces other regions of the virulence gene. After induction involves production of Vir D, Vir E. Vir E is involved once it enters the plant chromosome to protect it from the nucleases. Then Vir B is involved in conjugation. So you can correlate and remember how the events take place. So now the Ti plasmids cannot be used directly because of, as I was saying, generally we have binary vectors and these vectors are inserted into agrobacteriums which are disarmed. Now disarmed, I told you the inherent plasmid tDNA has been replaced and only virulence gene is kept. The reason being they are large in size, absence of unique restriction site, so it is difficult to insert your gene of interest. Then tumor induction. Why do you think tumor induction has to be avoided? If we don't disarm, there will be oncogenic genes present. So the morphogenetic event would be causing tumors or causing adventitious roots. That is not the purpose. If that happens, what will happen? It depends on the objective of the study. You are trying to do a targeted transformation into the plant cell. So more the number of genetic transformation, more metabolic burden. So any integration there is leading to removal of certain endogenous genes and replacement. There is a high chance, isn't it? So more the removal, more there is a chance that some of the crucial, who knows if any crucial endogenous genes get silent or gets replaced. And this is a disease. Only if desired you would like to have it. Otherwise, why would you like to have unnecessary growth or neoplastic growth in the plant? Depending on if you are working for whole plants, then obviously you are not wanting to have neoplastic growth in the whole plant. But what if the purpose is secondary metabolite production using plant cell cultures? If suppose purpose is secondary metabolite production using plant cell cultures, is this useful or not?
Yes, it's useful.
Why?
Because they grow.
They'll grow very fast. They will not
fast.
need hormones in the medium. Generally, this is what is observed. If oncogenic genes, this is how they are exploited for secondary metabolite production. Because if you take up wild agrobacterium strains with their wild TI plasmid, natural TI or RI plasmid, which we call as hairy roots. So there what is happening? We are not having any specific MCS or specific gene which we have inserted. This is natural infection which we exploit in lab. So it would lead to what? Integration of the inherent tDNA, thereby leading to expression of oncogenes. This is what leads to hormone-free growth in transformed cultures. And once you have hormone-free growth, faster growth, more branching, and because it is stress associated, so the possibility is high that the secondary metabolite yield increases than the untransformed. So is it useful or not? Then it is advantageous. But then still there is a selection needed after transformation. Selection of the cell line. Why? You understood what I am trying to ask? I infect the agrobacterium and I will have more than one cell lines. I say still there is a selection needed. Even in if it is a targeted transformation, I am using a minus, still there is a selection needed in agrobacterium transformations. Selection of, because you may end up in many different cell lines, isn't it? As you end up in untransformed callus induction. So why now selection is needed? We have got, once I have confirmed that this particular cell line is transformed genetically using PCR, we'll talk about those methods. Once I have confirmed, why can't I stick to just that line?
It might not be regenerated in all the generations, the plasmid.
It is a stable transformation event because it gets integrated. It's not transient expression. It has got integrated into plant chromosome. I'll give a hint. We were talking about stress. It has been found in literature that agrobacterium infections are stress to the plant cells. So where will we compromise?
Some cells might got resistant to that stress. Some might not be affected by that stress.
Okay. Depends on. They act like transposable elements. So sometimes the copy number and the position is not in your hand. So if the copy number is not in your hand and the position is not in your hand, the cell lines which come out will vary in growth as well as yield. And being a stress, there will be a compromise in growth. So there is a need for another step of selection even after transformation to reach to the highest yielding and highest or with better growth in comparison to others. So among what has been transformed, generally you select based on your secondary metabolite yield and growth index. So then the tumor cells cannot develop into normal shoots. Disarming of TI plasmid or removal of tumor inducing property is an essential steps. Generally it is observed that once you do agrobacterium infections, even if you have end up in cell lines, the regeneration capacity is hampered because of the stress into the whole plants. So when you are working for transgenic plants, all the more the tumor regions or the oncoregions have to be taken out. This is done by replacement of tumor inducing genes in transfer tDNA by selectable marker providing resistance against antibiotics like kanamycin. Now going back to my question, I said it is recommended that the desired gene has to be inserted near the 5' end.
Because 5' end is capped and protected, so our inserted DNA is more safe there.
And your marker systems, your resistance, antibiotic resistance gene is on the other end, so that if it is nicked, once the transformation is done, you would not like to have the antibiotic resistance gene in the plant, because any extra gene insertion is a metabolic burden. Promoters and polyannihilation signals isolate from nopalin synthase genes. So because in nature already these opines are getting expressed, so people have utilized the same expression promoters like CAM-MB35S promoter, CAM-MB35 promoter was used. Then here nopalin synthase 3' UTR is used because it has been found to express very well in the plants. So what are binary vectors? These are based on the principle that virulence genes may be located on a helper TI plasmid having the whole of the tDNA located. So this disarmed TI plasmid is called as the helper TI plasmid. In this case, tDNA is found on a separate vector, which is binary vector, designed to replicate in both E. coli and agrobacterium. So it has the origin of replication of both the E. coli and the agrobacterium. And capable of, now why do you think there is a need for E. coli? Origin of replication. Why unnecessarily having this E. coli step in between?
To transform it, to be able to grow it in bacteria, because having
multiple copies.
Because this is conjugate bigger plasmid, so the copy numbers cannot multiply here. So you need to have more copies and then you transform those into the agrobacterium, and then this agrobacterium is used, transformed agrobacterium is used to transform the plant cells. I'll stop here. There are other kind of vectors also present called as intermediate and helper vectors, but generally you will find in literature the success rate is very high with binary vectors. So most of these transformations are done using binary vectors.